Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the first practice session for the 2020 Hungarian Grand Prix. The green light is on and the session is underway. And first out onto the track is Lando Norris, a driver who finished in the third place in the Drivers' Championship. They finished third at the first round of the season and a spectacular fifth a few races ago. Alongside me in the commentary box at the moment, because one of them hasn't turned up yet, it's Ian Birch. Hello, Dad. How are you this afternoon? Or this morning, I should say.
I'm okay, but we've got to make an apology straight away.
Why?
Because if the graphics that went out were the ones that I saw on this monitor.
No, that's the wrong graphic. This is radio.
I was going to say, because we had a graphic that said Austrian Grand Prix.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a late start to today because we've had a glitch because we've been doing the MotoGP. This is the Hungarian Grand Prix, the 35th race at this circuit to be held at the Hungaro Ring in Budapest. And the circuit is go. We're using the pit lane channel. So we are looking at everything we possibly can to give you all of the access going forward. So we've got in this session as well, Robert Kubica is standing in once again at the Alfa Romeo team, this time in lull of Kimi Räikkönen. So Giovinazzi is still in this session. Lando Norris is out on the track, so is Esteban Ocon. They seem to be the only two at the moment to make times, and they will be the first to set lap times. So 1 hour, 28 minutes. We've got a beautiful monitor in front of us showing a different circuit for the first time in 3 weeks. But we are go, and Lando Norris starts the lap time, and joining us now in the commentary box on what should have been the last day of her school term. But she started a bit early. Good morning, Megan. It's been a bit of a rush for you this morning.
More like hell.
It's been hell for you this morning, is it? That's been unusual.
I don't think it's been hell. I think it's just been a rush because you're up early, aren't you?
I was up at 6:30.
I'm hungry.
How she does things at the moment is that she's forgot food because it's too early for her. She actually works on her schoolwork
throughout the day.
I was working on it till 1
and throughout the night till 1 o'clock in the morning. And
I was bored.
Well, there you go. Boredom when you do schoolwork.
Yes.
That seems to be the opposite for what some people do.
She's got these beautiful revision books. She's got work from school. Some fell through as we said yesterday.
They do things opposite.
Some more work. Is that work for September?
Yes.
I thought so.
Yeah, that's okay.
They gave me a geography book as well, though I don't do geography.
I thought you did do geography.
I thought you did geography.
No.
Oh, is it history?
I do history.
Right,
we'll
okay.
sort that out.
Because that's a way more interesting subject.
Anyway,
we are live, and we have got the start of the session.
Well, it's like this is we'll tell you bits and bits of what's going on, but it's more like a podcast.
Yeah.
Because if Lando Norris, let's start with him.
Yep, let's start with Lando.
Right. It's looking like it was the bear hug that has actually caused him the problems. He's in the pits at the moment.
Yeah, Lando Norris back into pit lane. But it was actually when he got the podium in Austria, Zach Brown hugged him, and at the time he thought he'd done something.
Yeah, it looks like he's been back home in England for tests.
Yeah,
and luckily it's just bruising. There's no broken bone and things like
that.
You see, Zach is an old IndyCar racer, right? In the days when you needed big arm muscles because, I don't think
they don't have power steering now.
They don't have power steering now. Did they have on Formula One? I'm not sure.
Power steering in Formula One, yeah.
Yeah. So that's the thing.
I don't know Kubica was still.
Oh no, he's just in it for this practice session. If you were in the box at the time, I said he's just in it. Yeah, Robert Kubica this weekend. Just in for Friday practice.
It's important to have a driver with the knowledge of Kubica. To take your car out rather than your drivers, because your drivers will be like, yes, this is fine. I want this.
Yeah. Whereas with Kubica,
I am Lance Stroll.
With Kubica, on the other hand, it's like
it sounded more like Latifi. That
we did that. With Kubica, you've got wealth experience and more like the Alan Prost professor mentality to properly set up the car. But yeah, we're looking at Lando Norris on the pit lane monitor now, and third place at the Austrian Grand Prix, a spectacular fifth at the Styrian Grand Prix.
Yeah, I mean, Megan, how many places did he make up?
4.
Yeah,
I think it was
I
4.
think it was 4 in the end. But yeah, and
Megan doesn't operate well without food.
no, she'll need a few minutes to warm up, and then she'll get back into business.
More like a lifetime.
Megan's very much stressed, and it's a miracle we've got her in here at all, actually, for the
I
commentary.
love food. I constantly eat it.
Yes, we all do.
The
McLaren, sorry, Zach.
fastest
McLaren
lap.
have achieved the fastest lap in both of the last 2 races. So the opening 2 they've done. McLaren, second place in the Constructors' Championship, 39 points. They are absolutely brilliant at the moment. They're beating the Pick Mercedes of Racing Point. We'll get onto that later, but what's going on with them?
But they're beating Red Bull as well.
They are beating Red Bull as well in third.
You've got to say that it's when Alonso
Left the team.
Yeah,
back in 2018.
and Honda left.
Yeah, that was 17.
Yeah, it changed the emphasis. The emphasis. We still have a British-based McLaren team that is operating from its usual base near. Is it Woking?
Yep.
And but for years and years, even when Ron Dennis was there, the Crown Prince has put lots and lots of money in, and I think with this latest loan, he's taken more control. And that's not a bad thing.
Not a bad thing at all. The team seems to be going in the right direction. They've got the inflow of cash they needed.
Yeah, his cousin or his brother puts vast amounts of money into Manchester City, and you will see what that does. And it's like with the Racing Point situation where you've got billionaires owning Racing Point now.
Yeah.
And you've got a billionaire owner of McLaren. There are a few others that are involved, but yeah, he's a billionaire.
He's the majority shareholder.
Yeah, he is the vast majority shareholder. And all you can say is that as long as the money isn't coming from bad people,
it's not.
It's not.
Yeah.
I mean, Martin Brundle and the Crown Prince are like best friends, aren't they?
Yes, massively.
And
always stops him on the grid walks. Always has a nice conversation with him. Always ready for a chat and everything.
I think that's because Martin Martin lives very close to Sandringham, and
we'll tell that story in a minute. Go on.
Yeah, well, he's they have a garden like festival every year.
The flower show.
The flower show, yeah. And
we went down in 2009, didn't we? Yeah.
Prince Philip has got him roped in as like organizer of all the events type thing.
Yeah.
And he is very used to being around royalty, right? He's been a star in the area where they live for a long time. And so he's met them on a number of occasions, and I think the Crown Prince, who was educated in England, is friends with some of them, and that meant that he became friends with him, and so that's where the interest in Formula One came, and you've got to have the thing about him and Lawrence Stroll is that they were fans to begin with, rather than just being approached for their money. So they don't really have the problem of trying to convince them. McLaren don't have to go there and turn around and say, well, we need this for this. He understands why they need this.
Yeah, and he's always willing to just say, okay, here you are.
It's like honestly, you should have provided breakfast for Megan, right? But you didn't.
Yeah.
I can get my own breakfast.
Yeah, we know you can. Megan makes a great bacon and egg sandwich, don't you?
Yeah.
So much so I want one
with
for
black pepper.
I don't know whether we have bacon.
And she also
Sure.
cuts. Is it a triangle or a square out of the middle of the bread?
It's a
circle.
Yeah.
A circle.
Yeah.
And is it fried, or is the bread fried?
I fry it with butter in the
She's a right little
in the
chef, you know.
pan.
2 seconds.
Yeah,
Or
and
an
then
egg in the middle.
and then she puts an egg in the hole.
I don't waste any bread either. That the
Yeah.
spare bit can go in as well.
Yeah, spare bit goes in as well, and it's fine. But Max Verstappen is on the track.
And he's just set the fastest time of the session,
Now,
1:19.536.
Max is. I don't know about you, but looking at those tires, I think the rear wheels are a bit underinflated.
They do look a bit. They're very much sloping, and that's the
And
downhill section.
and
yeah.
that's what's the name of those little things underneath that produce the sparks?
Oh, the magnesium skid plates.
Yeah, well, that's making them because he's not up to speed. You know, the wake on that car isn't.
Yeah.
It's
He's the only one out on the track at the moment as well.
yeah. Did you see his press conference?
I haven't seen the press conference just yet, but I've read the transcripts.
Don't you think that Max is turning into a miniature version of Raikkonen?
Yeah, he's not wanting to say much, is he? He's not giving much away.
He doesn't explain anything anymore.
And
It's like he doesn't want to upset other teams.
he's sort of like he's secure.
He'll upset
Verstappen,
other drivers, but not the team.
yeah, Verstappen is set at Red Bull for a long, long time going forward. The question is, though, what driver is he more turning into? Is he turning into a Raikkonen, which he is at the moment, or is he turning into one of these drivers who is slightly more big-headed?
Well, you've got to see the positive side of Raikkonen. Right, Raikkonen. There's no way he's big-headed.
No,
right?
he's not.
Right, the silence and the arrogance that people say is because he finds people fools.
Yeah.
Right? Why would you ask that? You saw it with your eyes. Why don't you?
We have
Why do
something
you-
in common then.
Yeah.
Megan's commentary today is pretty much like a Kimi Raikkonen interview, trying to get something out of her, but nothing's happening.
Yeah, I mean, Raikkonen and Seb Vettel, Grosjean,
Yeah.
right, all about their families, and they really see this as a more relaxed time of their careers. And
Verstappen's just locked up at turn 1, actually, coming in. He's locked the front.
don't you feel
brake.
that
Yeah, go on.
they just don't feel like they have to impress anybody?
No, they don't. They're completely relaxed, and we'll talk about Romain Grosjean actually going forward, because picking up on that, Grosjean might not be in a seat next year because Haas looks to be very much undetermined on their future of Formula One, whether or not they're going to leave at the end of the year or continue. So Grosjean and Magnussen are sort of a bit worried, but the biggest story is coming from the Racing Point area, and they've got two things to talk about. But first of all, we'll keep on one topic at a time. Haas. Now, we talked about that, I think, in our first practice commentary we did in Austria 3 weeks ago, about the fact that Haas are basically the Ferrari B team. We talked about it yesterday as well. But they are not getting the car performed where they want it, and it is costing an awful lot of money to keep this development going when they are at the back with no points on the board and the drivers at the back of the field as well.
Well, Gene Haas is a billionaire,
Yeah.
and he's created that wealth through. I think I think he's got an oil product or something.
Yeah.
In the United States,
He's also in NASCAR, and he won,
which led
last
to a massive history.
Yeah.
For Haas in NASCAR, IndyCar projects as well, and Indy Lights, and you've got to think to yourself, right? Gene Haas has done something with this team. The commitment he's made to this team is, as like we were saying last week. I asked you last week.
Yeah.
Are they still based in England? Because all the other Haas teams are based in the United States.
They
he's
are.
got a big factory
yeah.
complex in the United States that churns out his cars at a rapid rate.
He sort of splits. They sort of split time.
Well,
there's
not compared with
yeah.
Vauxhall or somewhere Ford or something like that. But he produces. If they need a car, it can be produced in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Instead of a couple of months, because they've got everything there. McLaren are a bit like that as well.
Yeah, they've got the Woking Centre, McLaren Technology Centre.
McLaren provide the ECU units for everybody, don't they?
Oh, right.
Here we are. Here we have the famous brake ducts
on the Mercedes
now-
of 2019,
now
and this is
Racing
the comparison with
Point-
Racing Point. They're identical.
Racing Point and Mercedes brake ducts are identical. Now, the what Renault was saying is like, and Ted's got a little drawing in his book to
The
show you,
notebook, yeah.
right? That the brake ducts in the internal bits of the brake ducts, they go in 3 directions.
Yeah.
Now,
First,
Renault was saying that
they have
if they're
protested this
identical
decision,
to last year's Merc, right? How do they know which directions they go in? Well, I'll tell you, because people like Ted and other people, there is a certain photographer that as soon as something's broken, he will take a photo of it.
Well, it's the wise thing to do. So you can build it up.
And then he'll sell it to the team.
Yeah.
Right? At some point or other, somebody has had one of those dismantled and it has been photographed.
I think I know when it was.
I think I know when it was.
When do you think it was?
I think it was when Valtteri smashed his car up.
Oh, in Mexico.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I thought I was thinking it could be earlier, because the only time I remember, I forgot about Valtteri crashing in Mexico, to be fair. The only other time, Hamilton crashed in FP3 in Belgium.
Yeah, also that's true.
And that broke off the front suspension more.
And the what happened on both occasions is that the car was returned to the pits very slowly on a low loader, right? And as soon as the mechanics could get there, they got the covers on the top of it, right? Because of the fact that it was exposing parts, right? Plus, also, right, logically, those air ducts, you know what each one of them has to do.
Yeah.
So you could work it out for yourself, right? I like I said with Christian, who turned out to be right because he used the 360 camera that was taken off the car to prove it.
Yeah, that was Hamilton's penalty back in Austria. Yeah.
I think this is just a case of Renault are rattled by the pace of the pink Mercedes, and they will. It's their job. It's Cyril's job to disrupt the flow of the other teams if possible, and I think that's what he's doing.
Sorry,
sounds like a fun job.
Yes,
Megan would do that job.
I'm just So just to wrap that around, Renault protested the Racing Point car at the end of last weekend's Styrian Grand Prix, so that now means that all the results for every Grand Prix are now provisional, and especially the championship points for the Racing Point are provisional until there can now be a meeting at the World Motorsport Council to determine whether or not the car's legal or not. So we're in for a long wait.
Yeah, but you've got to remember Lance Stroll and his 2 partners are billionaires.
Yeah.
Right? They have the top lawyers, and they would say, if we're affected by that, how come not Mercedes.
Racing Point. Oh, Renault?
Ferrari last year were allowed to win races, get podiums, then found out that their car was doing something that was just legal, but unethical according to the FIA, and received a very
hefty fine,
but nothing to do with the race win. They're saying that
they can just
if they're found guilty, they'll be told to change it, and there might be a fine. But I don't know. It's been going on for years.
You must ask. Red Bull protested DAS. DAS was deemed legal.
When Gordon Murray produced the 6-wheel car, right, the others, and the fan-assisted car, the others protested it, right, because of the fact there was no chance of them copying it.
No.
Right?
And that's because it was too technical.
Now, it is rumoured that Red Bull, and with a certain person being a genius, certain designer being a genius, the system that Mercedes have on the steering wheel to make the tyres go in and out, he has perfected a version of that for Red Bull. When they use it, whether they can, is another thing. But he's done that out of his head because
Yeah.
he's a top designer. Well, all the designers in Formula One are top designers.
And I've got a feeling if Red Bull have if Red Bull have got a system of this DAS, I should really rephrase that and say if Red Bull have a version of DAS, because it's dual axis system. So I was saying dual axis system. That's
Yeah, but
ridiculous.
the basic principles have,
yeah,
have been
it's
so
legal.
they've raked over these basic principles so much that I mean it's only for this season, and so if it's only for this season and Red Bull have worked it out for themselves already, right? They've that's what Racing Point have done with the. I know the car looks identical.
Yeah.
Right. I know that the internal workings of the car can look very similar, but these guys know Formula One inside out. These designers, right? And I don't feel that it would. Ferrari have got a cheek if they complain because
they've
they
got
can
hats,
copy and things. Look at their present new front wing.
That's Red Bull's from last year.
Yeah, and Red Bull's is a version of the Mercs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yes,
So they all
Red Bull have really changed their front wing design this year. But it's going to be interesting to see where this protest goes. It's going to be interesting to see who's where. But there's another story brewing from Racing Point, and of course next year Racing Point becomes Aston Martin as a factory team as well.
That's because Lawrence has bought Aston Martin to remove. So because of the pandemic and things like that, cars like Aston Martin haven't been selling. Ferrari, they fund their Formula One team on the sales
Fiat
of their not the sales of Fiat, but the actual sales of Ferrari. A percentage funds their Formula One team.
Yeah.
Now, as I've just said,
sorry, we seem to have got some interference on the microphone there. I'm not sure where that is coming from. So apologies.
I know where it's coming from.
Yeah, apologies if you can hear interference.
It's very light, and it's then I know where it's coming from.
Yeah, I think I do as well. We've got a little bit
of
the
trees. No, I'm not allowed to sing.
No, but
I don't know where it's coming from.
Apologies if
Megan knows where it's. Megan.
No, I don't.
Apologies if you did hear that interference as well. We have got loads of activity outside the commentary box area at the moment, so that could be a reason. But yeah,
where the little dicky birds grew up in the little trees, the trees have been trimmed.
So outside our commentary box,
there's a protest. The birds are stood on the wall with little placards going, "Save our home, save our home." But honestly, they're only being trimmed. They're not being cut back.
No. So
we used to have this big tree opposite us, and I just sat there.
Of hell?
Yeah, well, I don't know. It's the house opposite us, and the tree there. The new people got somebody in, and it took them less than an hour and a half to cut the whole lot down, and it was higher than the house.
I used to tell where the wind was blowing by that tree.
Well, there's plenty of other trees. We have lots of trees.
Yeah,
that was the best one.
Just quickly, we'll just get back to the whole Racing Point Aston Martin thing. So Aston Martin next year taking over Racing Point. That's going to be the new thing, but a lot of thing this weekend has been about the drivers. Now, we already know that Lance Stroll is secured in, as Lawrence isn't going to sack his own son. But who is Sergio Perez going to race alongside him? The answer is this weekend, it might be no, because there's been a lot of rumours going around, a lot of discussion that Sebastian Vettel is going to race for Aston Martin next year.
Yeah, but that came about because of the fact that Lawrence isn't going to sack his own son.
Yeah.
So it's going to be Sergio, and Sergio has said himself that he's had offers from other formulas, such as IndyCar.
I think he'd be good in IndyCar. We just discussed that last night.
IndyCar is a lot closer to Mexico than, in fact, I think it races one race.
It does, Mexico. Yeah. It was on the calendar this year, but it got taken off. It's back on next year, I believe.
Yeah, so it's not only the fact that Racing Point are just doing their options, because if Sergio wants to leave because the offer, once he's thought it out, he doesn't know at the moment what he wants to do. and to be honest, Seb is in the same position.
Yeah.
Right. It's a good option for Seb. Seb's never raced, has he? Yeah, he has. Yes.
When
I was going to say, has he raced with a Mercedes engine? But I think he did when he was at Red Bull, didn't he?
no, Red Bull had Renault engines, and then they had then he's raced for Ferrari. But I'm trying to think if he raced for BMW Sauber, so he's raced with the BMW
Yeah,
engine.
that's okay. Then
But
then
I think when he was coming through in the junior
I think you'll find that
formulas-
more exciting, wouldn't you, Meg?
Yeah.
If they're trying
yeah,
a Merc engine.
I think if you can't have the Mercedes drive because Bottas has signed on for another year, so
And the strength,
Hamilton.
the strength. Do you think that if all this with the ducks had been
The
done
breakdown,
out,
yeah.
and that Sergio had made a decision, do you think that we would now know that Vettel was going to be a Racing Point driver next year already, or I think there's somebody else in the mix.
I feel that there's somebody else in the mix because
I
otherwise they would
think-
just announced it.
Yeah, I do have the feeling that Grosjean's unhappy,
Mm.
and that Haas feel that they need somebody to bring their car on a bit more.
So
And
that would
if
make
Gene
more
Haas
sense.
makes a decision to stay in Formula One,
Yeah.
because it's only about the fact is he might stay next year because the now no longer
Competitive.
changing
Yeah.
the car totally next year.
Yeah. Next year the cards are
So
identical.
he might stay another year and see
Yeah.
how he goes. And if he can do that for a year with somebody like Sebastian, giving him input,
Developing it better for 2022.
because I honestly don't feel that at the moment Grosjean and his crash
Magnussen,
partner
yeah.
Magnussen.
We'll get on to what Magnussen did
The
later
great
on, yeah.
drivers, the great drivers, they prove their point, but I don't think that either of them are able to give enough feedback into that car.
Mm.
I mean, after all, as we mentioned earlier, as Megan asked, that's why a certain person has moved to Renault, is it? From Williams.
Yep. I
Because
can't remember who, but yep.
well, I'll give you a clue. He's out of Formula One for a long time with his arm.
Oh, Kubica, yeah.
What Kubica before his crash was a top driver.
He was a future world champion.
Yeah, and his expertise
Legendary.
are the reason why he's still driving even with the arm that he's got, right? Because it hurts him. I know how that feels. That when you've had a lot of operations on your body, you feel it does ache all the time and things like that. And the pressure that I admire him so much. The pressure that lad puts on those joints is amazing. After all, his hand, it's totally. What's the wind speed? 3.2
2 kilometers. Yeah.
Yeah, because I've been noticing. I don't know if you have, right? Have we got, is the
Oh, these are live. That's a replay we're watching right now.
Oh
These are
yeah,
the live
I'm
ones.
just looking at the steering wheels.
Oh, sorry, we're gonna
They
have to.
all seem to be like racing a little bit.
We've got a yellow flag on the
Hard.
track somewhere, and it's Robert
Green,
Kubica.
it's gone green.
It's Kubica. I think he's had a little bit of an off-track excursion at turn 1.
Right, I don't know what pictures they're showing on the world feed, but
Yes, we're on the
right,
pit lane
Hamilton-
channel, by the way, not Sky.
Hamilton and Perez seem to be fighting those corners a lot more than they did last week or the week before.
Yeah.
In the same vehicles.
Let's have a look.
Lewis is usually a lot smoother than that.
Yeah, Lewis Hamilton are coming down towards turn number 2, and it's the tight right. Hang on, race control. Car 88 Kubica spun and continued at turn 1. So it was Robert Kubica that brought out that yellow flag just a few moments ago. Probably locking the rears. The track temperature at the back is weird. Okay, coming out the pit lane for Kubica. Turning in, we've got his teammate just ahead of him and gets on the power a little bit too much, and the rears spin round. That's an easy thing to do. Easy thing.
Yeah, the brake bias when it was wet last week and that the last couple of weeks, you make less the rear brakes brake less, and you concentrate on the harder braking by changing the brake bias to the front of the brakes.
Yeah.
And that you get used to that, and they've had 2 weeks of that, and then they come here and they're trying to find. This is what Kubica's there for. He's trying to find the settings. He's trying to push that. Grosjean used to do this, and get spectacular crashes. Right. The thing about Grosjean is that what we've just said about Haas, right? What Grosjean does do, he pushes that car to the limit. But what he doesn't do is know where to back off and save the car, right? When he crashes in practice and qualifying, it's always spectacular, isn't it?
Yes. Every time Grosjean has an accident, because he's always pushing, as you say, he's pushing the car to the limit completely. 2 seconds, because we've got Esteban Ocon coming into turn one of the vortices off the rear wing, and he's locked up the front, and he's on a good run actually. So
more of a grown-up driver than he was last time he was in Formula One.
They had that year out with Mercedes.
I actually am a bit worried about how quiet he's gone. He's nearly as solemn as Megan.
Megan is in the commentary box, by the way.
Yeah, she is. Yeah. She hasn't said much because she's reading Agatha Christie as well.
Latifi's just gone up to third place, part of the revision. Latifi's just gone up to third place as well. We'll run down the order.
I love Agatha Christie.
We'll run down the order just quickly then, as we've just ticked over. 58 minutes to go. It's Hamilton top. Hang on 2 seconds. Race control. Esteban Ocon has had his lap time deleted for track limits at turn 12. So they are really. I'm going to find that now because I have got the race director's notes, Michael Massey's notes in front of me that gives out to the teams. The track limits now. And you can't. So if you go off at any of these corners, your lap times will be deleted. Turn 4, turn 11, and turn 12, and then also adding to that is the exit of turn number 7 and turn number 14. If
have
your
you
car
noticed
goes too inside.
Have you noticed on the track, the
driver tracker we got here?
Driver tracker, yeah. That the only people that have got real space, right? And Ocon is now catching Giovinazzi.
Yeah.
Right. But in the last couple of laps, Kubica and Ocon
spaced out a lot.
Were nicely spaced out, where everybody else seems to be trying the toe.
And the toe is a lot more crucial on the circuit. It's Monaco without the barriers. It's short and it's very tight, but different to what we raced at last week in Austria.
Just overtook Magnussen and he's approaching Leclerc at a fast speed.
Perez gone third.
I think he needs to clear Latifi and Vettel.
Yeah, that's on the. Oh.
Yeah, he's now going past Leclerc.
Just saying about the track limits, it's appeared on the world feed now. So if you go over the exit of turn 4, which is the uphill kink where Felipe Massa had his accident in 2009, your lap time will be deleted. And also at turn 11 and 12, which is at the exit kink downhill at the end of the lap. So you've got to watch that. And I think that's what we're going to be looking at in qualifying a lot more. Just to go through the order then quickly, because we got interrupted by the yellow flags. Hamilton and Bottas are first and second. Perez is third. And Latifi, Verstappen, Ricciardo in sixth. Leclerc, Russell, Magnussen, Albon rounds out the top 10. Ocon is 11th. Then Stroll, Sainz, Grosjean, Vettel, Kvyat, Norris, Giovinazzi, Kubica, and Gasly in 20th. And Gasly has yet to leave the pit lane, so I'm presuming he has some form of issue because he hasn't set a lap time yet on the track. And
Sainz has allowed the two Mercs to remain in front of him. So I think he's going to try and get a toe off Vettel.
I think so, yeah, because look, we've got Sainz on board on the pit lane channel.
Bottas is just behind Lewis, and Stroll and Kvyat are nicely behind each other as well. The toe has been important, hasn't it, at this race before, especially in qualifying.
That's when. Do you remember last weekend as well? The toe was not as important around the circuit, but
Wasn't
this
it
one is
here
important.
when the two Mercedes drivers fell out a little bit over who goes first?
Yes.
Yeah, because of the toe being important.
Alonso and Hamilton, and Alonso blocking Hamilton at the
No,
starts.
no,
Oh, and
but-
it happened later as well, didn't
Yeah,
it?
it happened later
Yeah,
with the actual Merc drivers.
2014 as well. Well, who was it? It was Rosberg and Hamilton.
Rosberg and Hamilton, yeah. Who goes
turn 3,
first?
yeah. And it was just all backed up. Vettel is on the lap now as well. Stroll's just coming across the line to complete a lap. He's 13th at the moment, stays in 13th. The track temperature beginning to drop, but it does look like, someone's locked up at turn 1 in front of Stroll. That's not handy, is it? And I don't know who it was there. Who's in
Well, the
front
only
of Stroll?
person
Hamilton.
in front is Lewis.
So it's Hamilton who locked up in front of turn 1. Yeah, we've got more data screens
Remember,
to give the
Lewis-
action here. Go on.
Lewis uses practice 1 to actually learn the track.
Yeah.
Whereas the others go round the track on the bikes with their engineers and things like that. He leaves it to the practice 1 and just figures it out. They've done a lot of research before they come, and he doesn't see the point of walking the track.
Well, he's won here 7 times as well. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Motorized skateboard around the track. Yeah, he'd be
Yeah.
in for that.
I think they're making those legal again. Actually,
Am I dreaming or remembering wrong? Didn't we once have a shot in the pits in the paddock? Sorry, of Rocco on the bike.
Yes, you're right.
By the
On
way,
the
by
yeah.
motorized skateboard, you mean a booster board?
is that what they're called?
Is that well?
We're not all hip.
We're not all hip and young like you, Meg.
I didn't know that.
You know all the correct terminology.
6 years between us. I didn't know that. I didn't know they're called booster boards.
I'm not surprised at you, Meg.
Are they not called hoverboards yet?
Have you seen his
No.
beard?
Oh, me.
Have you seen the beard on my?
Well, it was
son?
supposed to go, but then I realised that we haven't finished filming from Austria, so it's staying for this weekend. It'll be gone by the British Grand Prix. So yeah, just having to keep continuity issues.
Is it
on.
Alex who's got one of them as well?
Which Alex? Jake's?
No, the other one.
Brundle?
No.
I don't know.
A person.
I don't know. This is going to get confusing.
I remember who it is. Anyway.
Oh, well, you have to-
Formula E.
Jack Nichols.
Jack Nichols.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yes, yeah. He was on BBC Radio 5 Live right now.
Yeah. Shall we say about Formula E? I made the joke in the things that the bird in our carport area has flown its nests for a second time after having babies and things like that. And we said about Bird.
Sandbird,
Britain's Sandbird has gone to a more competitive team. The thing is,
He's still with Virgin for the next races in Berlin, but after that he's
they're
going to
not.
Jag.
Virgin aren't as competitive as they used to be.
No, he's the only driver to win in every
And
single season. But not good.
The thing is, a lot more teams like Mercedes and Aston Martin, and Audi.
Yep.
Are Aston Martin it? Yeah. They sponsor somebody,
They
don't
sponsor, but Aston Martin are yet.
they? They haven't
to
got their own
enter.
team, have they?
No,
Yet?
they sponsor,
Yeah.
but they're not in the Formula E. Porsche, BMW, Jaguar, Virgin, BMW.
When that
Hey,
series
Mercedes,
first started, it was a case of if you've lost your race in IndyCar or
Formula
Formula
yeah.
One, you've got one in Formula E. Now they're recruiting drivers from the junior series.
Yeah, Nick De Vries, F2 champion, went to Mercedes for Formula E. It's a better career path.
2 of the IndyCar drivers came out of Formula E.
Yeah.
And are doing quite well.
And me and Megan actually commentated on the very first Formula E race when Heidfeld had that massive accident. And we did the first season as well, but it's lost somewhere in the midst of time. But do you remember?
Heidfeld.
Yeah, do you remember Jean-Eric Verne when he came to race 3? It was a very long time ago, so I'm not surprised you don't. But he just lost his seat at Toro Rosso in Formula 1. And he was so angry. And he put his dragon car on pole position in the very first Formula E race he did. And it sort of showed to everyone, oh, well, this is a Formula 1 driver coming in, showing how quick he is. But then it took him 3 seasons to actually win a race. And then 4 seasons until he became a champion. Now he's a double champion and he couldn't be happier.
One of them was Frankie Valli, wasn't it?
4 seasons.
Yeah.
That's a Just Good Friends line.
I know it is.
2 people in the comment box know that line.
Do you know
One person doesn't. Megan.
Megan started to watch Formula Just Good
I
Friends.
watched Just Good Friends at 1 o'clock.
Anybody
in
who
the
hasn't
morning,
watched Just Good Friends,
2 days ago.
it's
Hey.
a very funny comedy in Britain about
don't sleep.
that's ran about 20 years ago,
Something like that.
25 years ago.
Well,
A bit
because
more
they
than
And
did
you'll
that,
catch
yeah.
it on your streaming
2
channel.
seconds. The 90s was 30 years ago. So it might be a little bit longer. I think it
When-
might be 40 coming up.
When
You
you get
see-
to my age, you just don't think of age anymore. You
This
just think of, am I
family-
here today?
Annoys me in that way.
What?
You all don't have a proper concept of time.
That's because for me, it's
Time's
all right,
irrelevant.
just quickly. Fernando Alonso's coming.
Wibbly-wobbly,
You said that
timey-wimey.
the other day, something like a couple of weeks ago. It was 2 months ago.
Yes, but 2 seconds. I'd just like to point out as well, Fernando Alonso coming back to Formula One to go for a world championship with Renault. It doesn't seem 5 minutes ago since he was the young hotshot beating Michael Schumacher.
No.
Just for me, because
Oh,
I
it's my
wasn't.
microphone, yeah.
Because
Yes,
I
you
was
might say.
only a baby.
Yes, but for me, it doesn't seem 5
Can I
minutes
just...
ago.
My
Yeah.
microphone keeps going funny because you keep leaning on the
Sorry,
table.
we can hear you, but I think it's your headphones.
So that
Good-
has annoyed me.
Pardon? Anyway,
Apologies if you did hear any disturbance. Me and Megan
what-
didn't hear any on our headsets.
that's better.
Heard that.
Do what
Yeah.
Joshua always does, tap it.
Hit them.
Making it worse, but tap it, you know.
Well, I do that
Anyway,
with my remote.
Let's say this. Right. The current F3,
Yes.
right? You getting what you get in football. I mean, obviously, if you're the kid of somebody in football, right, your dad can teach you the basics, and then you get training from people
Yeah.
that are very qualified, and that's how there is a predominance. Is that the word?
Yeah.
Imagine if a
of-
footballer
of-
had a kid that didn't like football.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Beckham's.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Anyway, it's the same in Formula One, and the current crop of F3, which includes what 19 rookies.
19 rookies out of a
Right.
26 field.
But
yeah.
they were saying this morning about the surname. Some of them have weights on them from their surnames, right? Because you've got the likes of Ralph Schumacher's son,
Yep. David
right,
Schumacher.
Nelson Piquet's son or grandson, Alazy's son, Nissani.
Giuliano Alesi. Yeah.
No, but Nissani.
Oh, Roy Nissani's son.
Roy
Yeah.
Nissani's son. There's I think there's 7.
Yeah.
Right.
Hefty names in Formula
Yeah.
3. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Formula 2, I think was another Schumacher.
Mick Schumacher in Formula 2.
I
Better speak up a
do,
little bit.
I do think that the
What?
professionalism
Yeah, go on.
that the parents instill in them, and the guidance the parents instill in them, as Formula 3 used to be known when it was GP3 as Crash Saturday, Crash Sunday.
Yeah.
Right, because
Constant accidents.
yeah, they
Funny
just
to
didn't
watch.
care. Now, whether or not it's because of reality check when we lost Anton Hubert, right? But the present F3 and the present F2 lot don't take the stupid opportunities that arise,
Hmm.
right? So if that's the case, right, can somebody tell Leclerc that? Because the crash last weekend was because he did something instinctively.
Went up the inside of Sebastian Vettel. Oh, 2 seconds. Pierre Gasly is out of the car. They're doing a lot of work to the rear. It looks to be engine related. So I don't think Gasly's going to get out in this
There
session.
was-
Back to you,
the-
Dan.
Though, in my opinion, right,
I thought we were going to see a replay of that from
Leclerc should know better because
Yeah.
Leclerc is from a racing family, right? And he's dad's best friend, and that was a top racing driver. His son, who died, was a top racing driver, right? His dad had been involved in motorsport for years, right? He shouldn't be making that sort of schoolboy error of going down a dead end.
Everyone's entitled to mistakes.
Yeah, it's instinctive.
Yeah, but it's lap 1. You don't win a race on lap 1. You can lose it. And that's exactly what happened to Charles Leclerc. He went up the inside,
Maybe he
made
was
the
taking
move.
example from Bottas.
He went up the inside, made the
if
move.
you want
jumped over
to,
the
if
curb
you want
and
to,
was out.
if you want a comparison of 2 drivers, right? Jan Magnussen and his son, who is presently in Formula 1 with Haas,
Yep, Kevin.
right? Kevin and Jan drive the same. Hard,
Virgin aggressive.
aggressive, right?
Hey, that's my driving whenever I'm on the Formula 1 game.
Aggressive.
Yeah, I always try and bash you off the road.
2 seconds. It's raining. It's raining trackside in FP1, and all the drivers have come in, and nobody wants to head out. Now,
I'll just tell the
yeah, go on.
drivers it's raining, men.
Oh dear. Spot the lyric. Uh, well, yeah, I won't say that one. That's the second one I got in.
Oh, they're talking about.
Go on.
Did you know W Series have their own eSport?
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen a couple
Race
bits.
6
Yeah.
was last night in Watkins Glen.
I thought it was Watkins Glen. Yeah. Have you?
They say it's Watkins Glen, but it's really a studio somewhere in Europe.
Yeah.
Right. They just do the graphics for Watkins Glen.
The track.
Yeah.
The
And the
V6,
drivers are
yeah.
all over the world.
I feel like whenever I play a racing game, I'm cruel to Joshua because I just try and bash him off the road.
Yeah, I'm sure the viewers remember that from last year's.
I did.
If you're gonna get in my way, I'm gonna speed up and I'm gonna smash into your car.
That's exactly why we did rallying on the second one.
Do you know Angie looks?
I still smash into your
Angie
car.
looks so much
At
fitter
Mercedes, yeah.
than she did before the pandemic, right? And I didn't think that was possible because
Lewis is.
Lewis is a Girl Friday PA and whatever, right? Whatever, right? They have a beautiful relationship. It's when you see Lewis at the fun thing. But the one thing no one can keep up with her in the gym.
No, not even Lewis. That's
Not
something
even
as well.
Lewis. Yeah,
There was an Instagram post as well.
And it must be really upsetting for these drivers to try and compete with her in the gym. And she looks like she's fitter now than she was before the pandemic.
Yeah.
She jumped up a railing when Lewis won last week. Did you see?
I saw.
fencing.
Yeah.
She clambered up the fencing, was hanging halfway off the fencing. The girl is so strong. I know she was a marathon runner. I think she's Australian, isn't she?
Yeah. She's Australian.
She's Australian, and then she was a marathon runner.
I've never seen this before. In the middle of a live practice session, they've cut to something that happened in 1986. This is the this is the Senna versus Piquet move, and Piquet going right round the outside, locking the rear tyres and drifting round to take the lead of the race. One of the most famous overtakes in Formula One history happened in the first ever event here in Hungary. And also, what is usually the mark of the last race for the summer break Hungary, it's now round 3. So that's an unusual thing.
Well, you've only got to look at the driver tracker to realise why they're showing things like that, because of the fact that, as you said, there's slight rain on the track at the moment.
Car! Roman Grosjean. Grosjean's coming out, and he's going on slicks, mediums. That's brave if it's raining.
It's just testing it, isn't it?
Yeah.
If it's a new set of slicks, he's ruined them.
It is new set slicks coming out.
It's new yellows. Are they the softest one this weekend?
They are the mediums. Yeah, the C4 is the hardest.
So you're going,
on the reds. Yeah, softest compound, I should say. It is raining trackside.
Can you imagine what a certain person, if they still had the documentary, you'll love to see this moment in the documentary. Go out, break the car. Go on, Grosjean, go.
The document, what was it? Drive to Survive.
That wasn't a very good impression.
I still haven't watched all of it yet.
You haven't watched all of Drive to Survive yet. Well, that's another thing.
Welcome to Drive to Survive. Welcome to the track side here.
Yeah, we're on the Pit Lane channel this weekend. So if you're wondering why we're not talking about something that you're watching on Sky, we're not on Sky. We're on the Pit Lane channel for FP1. So we've got continuous access to the coverage, and don't know when Sky on ad breaks, don't know what they're showing. So yeah.
Yes, Josh, my name is Paul Tracy, and guess what? I feel that the rain has come down, so it's start the
just writing down in my book.
Yeah, every time I've come in to see you, you've just been writing.
What you lot can't see is that she's reading her Evil Under the Sun Agatha Christie book, and she's got a homemade bookmark that says bookmark on it.
How unoriginal!
That is Megan to a T. Talk about crossing the T's and dotting the I's. Megan is so dedicated, aren't you, to everything you do?
Yeah.
Apart from this.
Well, she seems to have woken up a little bit.
Yeah, I did that around 40 minutes in.
It's 40 now. The rain is coming down on the track as well, so it's just light spots of rain at the moment, but it was enough to sort of give the track a little shine. And I'm surprised, actually, that, as you said, he's ruined this set of mediums now, because he should have gone out on the red softs. They've got plenty of them.
Maybe he doesn't like mediums.
The only thing you can say is, right, are they testing how the compound on a slightly damp track, which make it slightly colder, how the compound of that tire holds up? Because we know that the forecast for the weekend is not heavy rain, but a few damp bits. There's going to be occasions during this weekend, both in qualifying and possibly the race,
Yeah.
where you need to be out on a damp track.
So this is just good practice, and in fact,
Are we
yeah, colours are
praising
coming out.
Haas for this?
I think we are.
No.
I think. Well, hang on. The team
Because
Mercedes have come out.
Kevin's out as well, isn't he?
Yeah, Hamilton's out. Bottas
And
is out,
Bottas and Hamilton are out.
and Norris.
Norris looks like he's been out a bit. Is Perez just come out?
Yep. So Perez now onto the track, and
I like
40 minutes to go.
Yeah, Stroll and Ricardo. Yeah, they're all coming out now.
Yeah. So this is. I think many people say, well, why? That's normal because after 50 minutes of the session, you've got to come in and change the tires.
Practice is all about
Yeah.
practice. It's about getting used to the track under different conditions. So if you've got a situation like this, it makes sense, doesn't it, Meg, to
Get
come
them
out
out
on
there,
the track and have a few laps.
Yeah.
And
But
also,
whichever set of tires this is, right? The any of them are on. It's testing how much they break up and wear out on this thing. They're just throwing a dice and using a set of tires for nothing. But
Magnus has jumped up to third with that time 1:18.071. So Magnussen goes third with that lap time.
or is it a case that this is the amount of data that they're going to get from these few laps could be the most important of the weekend?
Yeah,
You've
especially
got,
if it's
in
dodgy.
Formula One, you can be made to look an idiot for going out and doing something, and then or a genius when it's thought that you're an idiot for going out and doing something. So maybe, well, it's improved it for us, hasn't it?
Softs going on for Norris, Stroll, and Perez. There and a few more softs coming out. Some of the drivers are going out on the hard tires, though.
I mean,
so,
you've got to imagine it's cloudy with a few bits of
rain.
Right? Well, you can see a few rain clouds up there in the distance.
Track temperatures at 25 degrees as well.
Yeah,
so it's enough to coat
the air
the track.
temperature's 64 degrees.
Fahrenheit, it's 18 degrees.
Yeah,
Yeah.
64 Fahrenheit. The difference between the track temperature proves that it's not been a bad morning.
No, it hasn't. No.
Because if it had, the temperatures would be quite close together, the track temperature and the air temperature. And sometimes it usually reversed to what it is now. So these are better conditions than they look.
They're
think,
optimal.
Yeah.
Who's gone top? Bottas goes top with a 1:16.089. So he's improved. The times are starting to slow. I think what happened is we had a little bit of rain. It coated the track just slightly, and now we've got all the cars out on the track again. It's wiped dry line again, and it's still spitting slightly, but not enough for intermediates. And
Yeah,
you've still
but
got dry running.
you got to think a good dry track, and you're getting your wheels are on fire, aren't they?
Yeah, like oh dear, they're just rolling down the road. Moving forward.
Very good reply.
Took the words right out of my mouth. Stroll goes fourth. Stroll goes fourth on a 1:16.967. We've got.
We're here to keep Joshua calm.
Yeah, well, I tried a solo commentary.
When he's on
week.
his own, like last week, right, he tends to get louder and louder.
And also, it got annoying last week. Megan was back anyway. This weekend, and you've come back into the commentary box as well, Dan. But it was fun last week in the race as well. That's the first time me and you'd done a race since Brazil, just on our own. And that was another classic. Megan seems to miss the good ones.
Megan's got a lot of work to do, and she's doing it. Anyway.
Yeah. But you're on your break officially. Now, can I just say,
I don't take break.
Just quickly, there
Yes, you
should
do.
have been a race this weekend.
You take them
By
out of the
choice.
fridge. Chocolate
That's
breaks.
basically a Kit Kat for anybody who doesn't know. If you don't know what Kit Kats
I
are,
kind of
then
feel it's
they
nicer
are
than a
wafers
Kit Kat.
with chocolate.
Yeah, the chocolate's different, isn't it?
It
Anyway,
is, yeah. It's a bit sweeter actually.
Other chocolate biscuits. Do you know that anybody? When I was working before my illness, and I listened one morning to BBC Radio York, and That's where the Kit Kat was invented, York, and at Roundtrees. And the guy who invented them was on the radio. And I've always wondered, right? You've got a wafer, and
Is he
you've
still alive?
yeah,
Yeah, probably.
you've got a wafer, and they're going along a production line, and you've got to cover it in chocolate, right? And then smash it into a when, as you call it, you smash the emblem onto it and things like that, or it goes through it goes through a
Yeah.
series of troughs with the emblem underneath.
Or they
And-
fill something with chocolate and then push
Yeah,
the
But what happens
thing
when
in.
this is? I know we've gone way off subject, but basically, what I'm saying is,
Nicer subject.
right? I always wondered how do you pour molten chocolate on a wafer and the wafer doesn't disintegrate, right? And he said it was someone had developed freeze dry coffee,
Oh,
and they decided that what they do is they freeze dry the wafer and then put the chocolate on,
that's clever.
and so it never sinks into the
Actual bar, yeah.
actual wafer.
If
That's
I run a
clever.
company like that, I would probably just get bored and start eating everything.
You want to watch the BBC documentaries on inside the factory.
I love melted chocolate.
Yeah, the way they make biscuits. I mean, there's nothing really happening on track really at the moment.
They're just no one's setting faster lap times. They're just all getting.
I mean, if
onto
you've
their
got a
fast laps
biscuit in
now.
Britain and it's got like an emblem on like a malted milk or something like that,
It's
on
highly
it says
likely something
Nice and things like
contains
that,
chocolate.
right? All that is done in Daventry,
Mm.
right? Because the rollers that produce that emblem on the biscuit to make one biscuit different from another, right? There's a place, a little lockup in Coventry, near Daventry, near Coventry,
Yeah.
and he painstakingly carves out
Yeah.
over and over again the same thing, right, on these big massive rollers about 8 foot 9 foot long, right, made of some kind of soft steel,
Yeah.
softer than normal stainless steel, right, and he produces everything. He does that for every biscuit company in this country.
It must be not completely added with other elements because normal metals, when they're pure, they're really soft and malleable. So if they're added to create a compound, then they become harder.
You sound like Valtteri Bottas.
2 seconds.
So Valtteri's
Yeah, go on.
on track. They're all on track virtually out there.
Yeah, they've all
And
just
because
started
the
to come out now.
driver tracker looks like it's like follow me leader and in 4 different
Groups. We've got
Groups.
Leclerc holding up Perez, Stroll, and Grosjean, and then just ahead of Leclerc, Magnus has got a little gap. I'd say the driver's got the clear
Verstappen's holding up
Why is Kubica in
Ocon
red?
and Norris.
because he's at Alpha Romeo.
That's Ocon
at the
being-
moment.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Oh,
and,
good point. He did-
Yeah, it's very hard that mind you, I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that Ferrari are now that the track's gone a bit wetter, although there is a dry line.
I've just noticed something that.
Right,
Yeah, go on.
they're keeping their cars away from each other.
Yeah. I've just noticed something that is very unusual. Now, the pit lane channel we're watching now is in
Little lock up there.
Yeah, it's in 4K, but it's downgraded for us at the moment. But if you look at the timers, they're actually on the same. The timing screens are linked with the pit lane channel, and that usually never happens because the timing screens are usually about 3 seconds ahead of the pictures we get from Sky because there's the delays. It extends on the country.
This track is really fast at
Yeah.
the moment. It's as you said.
Oh, hang on,
Magnussen jumped
yeah.
up and then he's gone back down again, but because the others decided, yeah, we can do this. This is it's actually a slightly damp track in this warm atmosphere. Is actually producing a really slick track, isn't it?
Yeah, and Stroll just got held up. Stroll just got held up there by Latifi.
Do you think it's improved the grip?
Sorry, I can't hear that bit. Yeah.
Do you think it's improved the grip? Because
I
of the
think
fact
so. Yeah,
that-
because it's washed the track, and now they're getting the pure rubber down.
Also, I suppose.
Ooh, that helps. Big lock up from Sergio Perez at turn 1. He's destroyed
he's
that.
destroyed that
Yeah.
right front.
It's gone down to the Canva. He's locked it so much, and Alexander
And
Albon's
that
just had
proves
a lap
how
time deleted.
simple it is to.
Yeah.
It's when you go over those curbs with a lockup.
Yeah, that's ripped it apart.
Those curbs have just ripped it
And this is Alexander Albon, and that's why his lap time has been deleted. He's gone off the track at turn 11. So that's dropped him down to 17th place now. And you've got to wonder, we saw that, I know you haven't seen the MotoGP practice session yet, but we saw this with Alex Marquez. He was 20th overall, and he was a second down on Marc Marquez's time, his brother. And he jumped up the order, but he was still about 6 tenths off. And that's what we're seeing with Albon. He's not as quick as Verstappen throughout the runs. And Albon's taking a lot of time to get used to that car. So I'm going to throw in a little curveball here. I wouldn't say it looks to be impossible that Albon could be replaced by Vettel next year if the deal with Aston Martin don't work out.
Albon's got one thing in his favour is that when he came in, he was told to do a job, and he did it 50% more than they expected, right? And if you impress Dr. Marco, then you've got the most powerful guy on your side for keeping that seat.
Oh,
right?
What happened there with Verstappen? He's really angry with one of the cars behind blocking him on the circuit. Oh, and it was a Williams. Oh, and he really blocked him. It's Latifi. Brake checked him coming out of turn 1, and Verstappen had to dart out the way. And that looked quite scary, to be fair, because turn 1 is a downhill section that you turn into, and it's blind until the exit.
Well,
so that's scary.
Talking of Red Bull, right? The Red Bull office, obviously, their management team, their designer, their team managers, and their academy boss, Dr. Marco, are all top of their game, right? Dietrich has been able to buy the best, right? And I think the relationship between Dr. Marco and Christian is very similar to the relationship that Nico and Toto had. Nicky Lauda and so it's not Nicky Lauda was a lot of people don't know is Toto's first wife before he met
Susie Wolff.
Susie Wolff, right? Toto's first wife was Nicky's cousin or niece.
Oh, yeah.
And so it was a family connection that, and they were very, very, very close, right? And I think Dr. Marco and Christian are equally that type of partnership.
They're close all the time, and they always make the decisions together. And ultimately, as you say, it's Dietrich Mateschitz who has the overall decision. But
have you noticed that there's
the
some people come easily to mind, right? And I was sat there earlier during in watching Formula 3 quali, not quali practice, and I was thinking to myself, who's the team principal of Racing Point? And I could not remember who it was.
Oh, Otmar Safnauer, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it is. But you know, some team principals
fall out your head.
Fall out your head straight away, and others are just in the background as if you think.
Okay, I'm going to do
who's
something.
Alpha's? Who's Alpha?
Alfa Romeo. Oh, I do know, but he's gone out of my head. I know who it is, but I still the people. No, that's Renault.
That's Renault.
The only person I know is Toto.
That's really annoying. They do fall out your head quite a lot. I don't think I could actually. Yeah, looking at the timing monitor.
And there's the real stars of the outfit. The tacticians are the one thing, and the team bosses are another. But where
Frederick Vasseur. Thank
you.
you. On the group chat, the live chat, it's Frederick Vasseur. Thank you. I now you say it, I remember now.
And to tell you the truth, Frederick Vasseur is responsible for a lot of these drivers on this grid.
Yeah.
Because he was the number one team principal in the lower formulas for 20 years, right? And he produced a lot of these drivers, didn't he?
Yeah.
How do we? Because he's such a he's not.
He's a calm, controlled
man, isn't he? Yeah.
That's very opposite from what I am.
Yes,
No, I would say you're quite calm.
You're calm sometimes.
Am I?
Yeah, getting in the way of you revising, Megan, and you're a bit mad. But no, you're calm.
Turn into a chupacabra.
Yes, thank you,
It's
Carlos,
like-
on the live chat
like
for
a
saying it
demon
was
type
Frederick
thing.
Vasseur. Completely. Now it was
Hispanic.
said, it does pop back into your head.
Yeah, because he was a great. I mean,
Not for me.
he among his drivers is Lewis
Yeah, he brought him to the
and
juniors as
Nico.
well with Ross Brawn. Yeah, not Ross Brawn, Ron
When you
Dennis.
start thinking of the world champions in the past 20 years, right? He has had them at junior formula,
Mm.
and he's had about 6 or 7 of the lads that are on this track at the moment.
He's bringing Tatiana Coljon through at the moment as well, and hopefully she was going to get some free practice one drives, but she was racing in W Series and then that's got cancelled, so we don't know what's happening with Tatiana right now in terms of Formula One. That has just popped into my head actually. We must say get well soon to Catherine Legg, who has broke her left leg and quite of a wrist in a nasty accident to Paul Ricard.
Her last
Yes,
name was Leg
yes.
and she broke her leg.
Yes, Catherine Legg. But
yeah,
yes.
Formula One's women and motorsports women are having a tough time of it. We also send best wishes to a certain lady who used to be part of the NBC IndyCar series, who is very ill at the moment in Chicago, I think it is.
Yes, and absolutely. And also brilliant news coming from Italy that Alex Zanardi is being brought out of his medically induced coma soon. So we don't know what the damage is yet, but it's great news at that stage.
You know, I feared the worst for Alex, but I also had this feeling, and I think I mentioned it.
I think so in Austria, yeah.
Alex is like one of those, like he's got 9 lives, and thankfully he has. It was a horrible thing.
Yeah.
He was on one of those wheelchair bikes, and lorry came out of a junction that should never have been allowed to come out of the junction, straight into their path.
Yeah.
And
Horrible.
he was the worst injured, and it was horrible.
So
I've just driver felt terrible.
I don't know what happened at the moment with him. Well, or her. We're not sure.
Yeah, but where was the people running the race?
Yeah, where was the officials?
Where were the officials? Where was the local gendarmerie? Or whatever. Was it Italy?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, so I don't know what the Poliziani. Is it something like that in Italy?
I don't know.
Anyway,
just going back on the Frederick Vasseur comment as well, Carlos in the group chat on the live chat on the YouTube as well has said that Eddie Jordan is mental, but he's just as epic in bringing up talent. I think that's right, because without Eddie Jordan, we would have Michael Schumacher.
Michael's very first race in Formula One was Eddie taking a chance.
Yeah.
On this young lad from Germany.
Needed the money as well, because wasn't it? I want to say Wendlinger, was it someone? One of his driver, Eddie's driver. Yeah, Eddie's driver in '91 was put in prison, and he was left with no driver for the Belgium Grand Prix. So Michael came with 100,000 and said, "I'll drive."
I don't know. I can't remember what it was all about, but I think it's something to do with a nightclub.
Yeah, it was something with the nightclub, but it was some sort of substance as well. There was some fight as well.
You say I act like Eddie.
You do. Well, I've got Eddie's shirts. You've got Eddie's personality. But so that's an interesting thing as well to look at. Schumacher came in. Of course, Schumacher dominated in qualifying. He put 7th on the grid in the Jordan. That was uncompetitive that year. Retired on that one of the race, but he was locked in a contract with Eddie Jordan, but managed to get out of it. And the next race, I want to say Hungary here, actually. I think he was in Benetton already. And then that began the beautiful career of him winning 2 titles in '94, and illegally maybe.
And he's still doing it because
he's
still doing it as a commentator and as a presenter, because he's now got his nephew, his nice nephew, his son-in-law, Paul Di Resta. He's doing the same as him for Sky.
And I think he's in the commentary box now, actually, Paul Di Resta. I saw him on the pit lane world feed thing. But
you do think, I mean, Paul Di Resta, he's got Eddie as a father-in-law. You know, he must feel that I don't know. It's not easy, is it? Having Eddie, Eddie can be very controversial, and you know what happens. You know,
Eddie broke.
If one of your family says something, automatically people think you think the same thing.
Eddie, of course.
Eddie's great.
Loves playing the drums, but also Eddie broke the story of Hamilton moving to Mercedes for 2013 that time as well. And
but you do also get the nepotism in the broadcast industry as well. slightly, because like we're saying with the drivers all being able to be shown how to do things. So I think the same thing goes.
Yeah,
I've
something's
gone
just happened.
totally.
Yeah, something's just happened with our headphones in the commentary box, and it's spoiled
Yeah.
things. Are you back?
I'm back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
We lost our headsets for a few moments, so
I
hopefully
really
you
want
can
to
hear
say
us on the.
a song lyric then.
Hopefully
Just say
you
I'm
can
back.
hear us on
there's not many
YouTube
of
channel.
there's not many of the team at Sky, and at quite a few others that haven't got some sort of motorsport background, right?
Well, all of them practically at Sky. And they've got,
Yeah.
what was it, 16 next? I think.
Or relatives that made things.
I think Lazenby and Croft are the only two off the top of my head. Craig Slater maybe, because Rachel Brooks races.
Yeah, Craig Slater was Rachel races, and but Craig Slater. And what about Natalie? Natalie didn't want her grandfather.
Yeah,
A
racer,
brake
yeah.
manufacturer or something.
Yeah,
and she
Ricardo
she went to school with Claire Williams.
And Ricardo is Wilf's godfather. And
Yeah.
Willow's, actually, thinking about it.
Yeah, Ricardo.
One more from...
They've got a lockdown haircut.
Yeah.
Long before the lockdown from
I remember
Natalie's
that.
children.
That was when she was pregnant with Willow, actually. And
Yeah, I remember.
She was so
I remember
distraught.
I remember the pictures on the internet of her crying in her kitchen. What have they done to him?
He's bald.
He's
was being said,
bald.
yeah.
It was brilliant, Nat. That was brilliant. That's typical Nats.
She's back this weekend as well.
And I
Sky.
loved it when he ended his interview and picked her up and jumped into the pool with her.
Yeah. Hamilton is top, 116.003 at the moment. Bottas is second, Perez third, Stroll fourth, and Ricardo rounds up the top five.
And our fashion correspondent, your mother.
Yeah, sorry if you can hear interference.
Our fashion correspondent, your mother, likes what Natalie's got on today. It's like a dark all-in-one suit, trousers and top together, and your mum thinks it's lovely because your mum's as thin as Natalie now, so
she would like that as well. She went out buying clothes at the moment, but all in the pandemic and the lockdown.
We give you everything here, from Megan's breakfast to my wife's choice of how she likes to look in clothes.
You get it all here for practice one. 2 seconds.
Yeah,
one
but
more.
that's true.
It's just processed actually through the live chat now from Carlos. One more. There were a few races where every single point scorer, first to sixth, had driven for Jordan at Formula 3, Formula 1, or Formula 3000. I think that's right. Yeah,
Megan actually shares her clothes with her mother.
Not my current ones, because it's like, no.
It gets quite distracting actually. Just before
she does have an advantage in that your mum gave you her leather jacket because of the fact that it's
I use it
baggy on her.
And it's nice.
She's a biker girl in it, aren't you, Dal?
It gets quite annoying because you walk down and then you think you see Megan, but it's actually Mum. So
it's a lovely back jacket with silver studs.
I'm taller.
Yeah,
she's taller. Everyone is taller. Well, back to the racetrack and I don't know.
You've got Scott. You've got Brains there from Thunderbirds. More.
Oh, hi.
You've missed quite a lot of the accent there. Lance Stroll.
Anybody who remembers Thunderbirds, right? If you
new or old,
there are certain characters that don't talk to each other. I'm Scott. I can see him. That's the original Gordon Tracy. Lee Majors, the $6 million man, is now Jeff Tracy on the cartoon version.
Lando Norris is just coming out the track.
Yeah. We've only got 2, 4, 6 on track at the moment. So they've all gone out and they've decided that they've got the data from what those various tires have given them, and it's all data that you need. You've got both McLarens on track following each other at the moment. So are they going to practice the toe?
Yeah. I'm trying to think as well where... Well, if you look here, I think they've got it wrong because Magnussen is way ahead of Grosjean and Grosjean's at the back of Stroll, so I don't know what's going on there. Verstappen's just coming out on the track now. And where's he in the running order? P8 at the moment.
Look at that pink Merc go over that.
Yeah, if you can't see it as well, just seeing a replay of the Racing Points front wing bouncing over the curbs at the chicane at turn 6.
Obviously, it's
7.
not the same as the Austrian track last weekend where the curbs are like brick walls.
Mm. Although
uh,
we did see in the Formula
to-
3.
because these cars
Yeah.
are so low on the ground, right? It's like hitting a brick wall. It's like going over a curb in your own car.
Yeah. I'm going to feel it all the time, and it's going to break. We did see this morning, though, in the Formula 3, one of the front suspensions break after the chicane here at turn 6 and 7.
Yeah, but in the Formula 3, the suspension isn't anywhere near as good as that.
Yeah.
You know, it's what who makes them? Dallara,
Dallara, yeah.
Renault Dallara,
Yeah.
and
On the Haas, it's
the
Dallara,
same.
yeah.
It's the same for all the teams, and basically, the strut, right? The strut isn't as strong. I've seen it happen on quite a few F3 cars.
Mm.
The front strut isn't as it hits some of these curbs and it does a lot of damage.
Just for those of you who might be wanting to know what happens, because in the last 2 races we've had the practice starts on the grid. That will not be happening this weekend because they have enough room in the pit lane exit. So as soon as the session is over, everyone will complete their lap and that will be it. There'll be no need to hang around for the practice starts, which I'm always against because you've got a grid, you've got time on the track. Do what Formula E do. Line up 2 by 2, put the lights on, give them a proper practice start. It bugs me that they don't. Every other series I know does that.
What worries me is looking at the present thing,
The timing screen, yeah.
timing screen up there, and where they all are. Of course, you've got the Mercs at the top, and then the pink Mercedes after that, and then you've got Ricciardo and the Renault. But then you've got the 2
Ferraris. Back, yeah.
and you've got to think after what happened last weekend. Are they turned up a lot to give a false impression?
Oh, we seem to have lost our pit lane channel to a weather graphic, which showed us that the rain is coming in. So heavier rain looks to come into the track later on for free practice too, and maybe
it may affect F2 practice, which is straight after this.
Well, it's about, exactly what I was going to say. Yeah, but going back to the Ferraris, it does look like we knew they had upgrades coming to this race. They brought 2 of them last time out, but we never got to see them in the race. But it looks like now they'll be having the update. So keep your fingers crossed that Ferrari are back. But I think you're right.
What's that comment that we've got there, the bottom one?
Oh, we've just read that one out. That's about the Formula 3, Formula 1, and Formula 3000 from Carlos again. Yeah. We'll head back to that, actually. But yeah, so reading it again from Carlos, there were a few races where every single point scorer, first to sixth, had driven for Jordan at Formula 3, Formula 1, and Formula 3000. That is impressive, actually. And I think I remember.
Eddie's philosophy, because he didn't have as much money as the other people, Eddie's philosophy, and he said this on a number of occasions, was to make give people a chance, but it was an educated chance that they got. He had a series of people who would bring certain drivers to his attention, and obviously you're having that now with the academies. Right, the Ferrari Academy is doing massively well in Formula 2 and Formula 3, and you know, in the old days it was you know, people turning around to Eddie and saying, I want you to take a look at this driver, right? And Eddie would get one of the backroom staff who he trusted to go watch them, and then
give it an opinion.
If he over a couple of races of show of it, and then he would give them a chance. And as the Carlos said, you know, he's given a chance, and so did Frederick Vassar. They did more to enhance Formula One for normal people than I think any other people.
I think you're right. There's so many opportunities given. And of course, just go back to what you said about
definitely
Eddie.
Schumacher didn't have.
Yeah.
Schumacher's dad was a baker.
Yeah. And his mum worked at the local cafe.
Yeah. And, you know, so Schumacher coming to the fore, having strong results in the lower formulas.
Led to a happy childhood with that.
He did, actually. He really enjoyed it.
Haven't you noticed that if you there's some great pictures of
he's a mechanic as
well, of people like Ralph and Sebastian, right? Because Sebastian spent a lot of time with the Schumachers when he was growing up, and there's
My ear's gone again. I don't know if it
there's old footage, movie footage that has come onto the internet, of both Ralph and Sebastian, and my earphones have gone again. Ralph and Sebastian, when they were about 10 or 11, and yes, Megan, it looks like they have both so rounded in the face, right? It looks like that they used to have a lot of bakery products.
I remember Maury
Me
Walker.
too.
Yeah, I remember Maury Walker doing a documentary about them for ITV in 2001. And he said about Michael and how he always used to give very strong opinions to Ralph when he was karting. And
But he also fixed his car.
Yeah, and also
and
fixed
the
his
same
car.
with Sebastian.
Yeah.
Right. You know, there's a picture of there's in a like a transit van, minibus type thing, and
there is Michael now on the monitor. Not
Michael
2006. Yeah.
Michael remonstrating to Sebastian of what he did wrong.
Yeah.
In his go-kart race, right? And there's Sebastian like sat there going,
just listening
intently.
What's the age difference between Michael and Sebastian?
Michael's just celebrated his 50th birthday. Seb's 34. So you can wear that for yourself.
16.
Yeah, there you go. You can work out for yourself. Lance Stroll has been bouncing over the curbs once again on that racing point and damaging the front wing ever so slightly. But I think
if there's a problem with the pink Merc, it's too low at the front wings. So
they need to bring that back up again.
We said last weekend, didn't we? That, they airing the tires didn't look like it was at legal level.
And now the car is under investigation for it as well.
You see what they I know it came to a fore, and it must have been checked last weekend, but it just didn't look it. Right? Maybe it was the way the tires were towed in and out at the time that made it look like that. Right? Because they are actually, the FIA do actually, for the last 2 years, not before that.
Yeah.
They test it on the grid after the lap to the grid.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Rather than the lap before, because what was happening? Well, no, it's the other way around, isn't it? Because what was happening was they were using the lap before. They would slightly underdo the pressure. And so when they did the lap to the grid, and then they were tested on the grid by the FIA officials, right?
Legal.
They were legal, but they weren't, because
I remember that I got them it got them caught out a lot.
It's an old trick in snow that
Yeah.
if you reduce your tire pressure a little bit, you're getting more surface area on the snow, so it gets. It's the same with that's why they produce those flattish looking tires, isn't it? That they used to put on alloys for years.
I know where you're going that one,
Yeah, the guy across the road, his estate car's got these really flash alloys with these low profile tires, and it just gives the impression that the car is
a bit lower,
faster.
Stroll comes across the line.
Amazingly how, I don't know.
Stroll comes across the line now. He stays in fourth place. He's given the toe to Valtteri Bottas, but I think he's compromised him. If we look in box number 3, I think he's compromised him a lot more on the run to turn 1. That's interesting. Perez is out for the session.
We got a flag there.
Yeah, we did.
And it wasn't yellow; it was grey. What's a grey flag?
Don't know. It could be a white. The camera wasn't looking at it.
That could be a mucky camera shot.
I'd say a white flag, slower car ahead. Well, who's ahead of Stroll? Oh, Ricciardo. It's Ricciardo.
Yeah.
It was Ricciardo. White flag for Ricciardo getting out of the way. And as we see a replay of Alexander Albon at the top of the hill. Oh, he's gone off the track at turn 4. So Albon has another lap time deleted. That is third of the session.
The air temperature and track temperature is increasing. So it's at least another degree Celsius higher now. And so that's changed the track again, isn't it?
Yeah, and now it's a whole new situation for everyone to get used to, and especially in these mixed conditions that we're anticipating for qualifying the race. A dry track could be interesting. Race control.
There's Albon's time deleted.
Yep, turn 4 again. So he drops down to 13th place now. And that means when you have a lap time deleted, it is the lap that you went off the track is deleted. and then your following lap time is also deleted. So you don't get one lap, you get
Is that
two.
is that the same in qualifying?
Yeah, same in qualifying.
So,
yeah.
you lose two laps of tire.
Yeah.
So
if
you
make a
might as well
mistake.
come in and change your tires.
So they've really got, and they're hammering down on this week. Anybody who goes off the track, you will get that penalty. They are not taking anything. It's British touring
I'll
car
tell you what we
rules.
haven't talked
go on.
about, right? The lockdown at the stadium, at the circuit.
Yeah.
Right. And the hotel, right? Everybody was making this big thing about Hungary will put you in jail and things like that.
Mm.
But what was the difference between Austria and Hungary's things? Apart from the threat of jail, I think it was the same.
It was pretty much the same.
So they were really used to it.
The good thing, though, with Austria was that because the hotel was right next to the track, you could walk around the track facilities and have a little bit of a breathe and go up to the mountainside. But here, of course, because most of the teams are staying in Budapest, they're not allowed to go outside and they have to be air shuttled into the track. I know that several of the drivers are actually staying at the circuit.
The wind speed's gone down as well.
Yeah, I've just noticed that as well. Yeah, so track temperatures at 27 degrees, air temperature at 18. Yeah. 19 degrees now air temperature, so it is changing. But so most of the drivers are staying at the circuit.
Still the Mercs and the pink Mercs.
Yeah.
And Ricardo's now up into 5th.
So Ricardo moves up, yeah.
And I do feel that they're turned up.
I think Ferraris are turned up to be 6th and 7th.
No.
I think that was Hamilton having a little bit of an oversteer moment. And compared to Haas, which they too.
They're losing the back end more.
Yeah, those tires are done.
Lewis was fighting it and able to do some to keep it pretty straight.
The Haas is sliding the wheels.
The Haas slid a lot more. 2
Ferraris out on the track now. We've got them open in box 2 and 3 on the pit lane channel. And Leclerc's just coming into the back half of the circuit.
Can't get used to these 4 red dots instead of
2. Yeah, 2. Yeah, on the driver track.
Romeos.
It's really annoying to work out who's who, isn't it?
Definitely.
The only good thing is it's white for the Alpha Tauris, and that used to be blue as well, so it's really annoying. But the 2 Ferraris...
Hamilton's getting a pull on Magnussen now.
Yeah, he's got the toe. Although I think he might pass him.
Yeah, I think Magnussen's gonna let him pass the possibly. On this, no, he's not.
No, Magnussen's Hamilton's staying behind.
He's decided to keep it behind him.
Well, we've got 2:25 left on the clock, and we've got 1:16.003 is Hamilton's fastest lap time. If he wants a tow, he better get out of the way. And I think he's staying behind him. I think Magnussen's on the quick lap. But look, we've got Vettel now towing the Racing Point ahead of Stroll, and he got a tow into turn 1. A little bit wide, but Stroll's backed out of it. So, yeah. 2 minutes to go in the first practice session of the weekend.
Giovinazzi getting out of the way of Leclerc. So Leclerc's got a clear track in front of him. He's near his car. He's two corners ahead with Ocon.
And he's going to have a clear last lap run because by the time he gets to the start line, there'll be about a minute to go. So Leclerc will now have the better time. And this is unusual, actually, because as I said earlier, this is the timing screens, the driver track are usually about 3 seconds out of sync. But we're on the pit lane channel, and that is directly in link with the driver tracker. So we're actually seeing live pictures than you would on Sky, which is fun. So, yeah, watch the pit lane channel on Sky Sports F1, the red button. It's available on F1 TV as well. Just quickly, because we'll be going off air in a couple of minutes' time. We'll be back.
Yay, breakfast, Meg.
Yeah.
Yay.
Actually, thinking about it, I haven't eaten either. So I've got to eat.
Think about it. I have a Weetabix.
Yeah, you've already eaten.
Well, I have 2 Weetabix.
Yeah.
So we're both hungry.
Do I have 2? Yeah, I have 2 Weetabix.
Yeah, 2.
Literally hungry.
We're hungry. I'm hungry. Yeah. Just quickly then,
I've had some toast as well, so I'm
You're fine.
I'm getting fat, aren't I, on it?
You're fine.
I have some egg on toast.
Just
as relevance, right? I was told to eat Weetabix because they're neutral.
Yeah. They are, and they're nice.
They're neutral?
There's France Tost.
You can have as many Weetabix as you like, really.
France Tost is looking in the back of the Alpha Touré of Pierre Gasly, who is out of the session. Hasn't said it.
Give you the fibre.
Just going to wait a second because I need to get this over with. There's Pierre Gasly, the Alpha Touré at the moment. A complete power unit change, we understand, and it won't be a penalty. as well. But that's lost him in 90 minutes of running. 5 seconds left. 4, 3, 2, 1. And the checkered flag is out. The first practice session of the weekend has
So
concluded.
the flag should come for Lewis first, shouldn't it?
Yeah, Lewis is taking
Or
it.
Albon.
Well, Leclerc's taking it now as well across the line as well. Giovinazzi's taking it. Latifi and Bottas will take it as well. But it's ended with Lewis Hamilton on top on 1:16.003. Bottas is second. Perez third. Stroll fourth. And Ricciardo rounds out the top 5. We'll give you the full classifications in a few minutes' time. Just going to tell you, we'll be back later on for the Friday practice review. That'll sum up everything that happened in FP1 and FP2. Tomorrow, in between the third session and qualifying, we'll have the Saturday practice review and the build-up to qualifying. Sunday, we have 2 shows. The Sunday race preview in the morning, just before the race, and a couple of hours after, we'll have the Sunday race review and the Grand Review podcast with analysis of the first 3 practice sessions, followed by commentary highlights of qualifying in the race, will air next Wednesday as well.
One of the best pies, right, in football is Wigan, right? But one of our other local teams, Hull City, across the river from us, right? They went to Wigan and were starving because they ate none.
8-0. He's got that good.
8-0.
That's a shame. We've lost.
Actually, I stole that from Elton Wellesby. Elton, if you ever hear this, right? Elton Wellesby, the former football commentator for ITV on England. I watched them England play Turkey away, and that was the score. No, it was a midweek match for the World Cup qualifier, and Elton Wellesby was the first to come out with that, right? Because England won 8-0, right? So he said England 8, Turkey for dinner.
Fantastic. The session is over. Someone asking on, do you do a quali watch along and race watch along? Not at the moment, but we are planning on the British Grand Prix, creating the whole weekend live as well. And hopefully,
are you?
Yeah, I did say that. And hopefully we'll have the commentary camera set up.
In discussion.
Yeah. But so hopefully,
more money.
Yeah, hopefully we'll be back.
Food.
Yeah. Mercedes.
Better chairs.
Mercedes is my favorite car, but drivers, not really. I don't think was the answer there. But yeah, so we'll be back for the Friday race review, the Friday practice review, I should say, later on tonight. But yes, we are planning on 2 weeks' time, hopefully, the British Grand Prix, having the complete watch along of the commentary of the sessions, because it's the British Grand Prix.
We have used one of the Sky things that, like it tells you how much possession, right? This is for talking, right? Megan is on 4%. Joshua is on 56%, but 62%. I have won on this commentary.
That doesn't make sense.
This podcast.
That means you'd only have 40.
I have spoken for 62% of the time.
Let's just confirm the results then here.
So it's my show now.
Let's just confirm who's got the mic. Let's just
me.
Well, we've got headsets on. You've got a handheld lip mic. Okay, so here's the results then. Lewis Hamilton is the fastest driver. His teammate Valtteri Bottas ends the session second fastest. Sergio Perez is third for Racing Point. His teammate Lance Stroll is in fourth. Daniel Ricciardo rounds out the top 5 for Renault. Sebastian Vettel is sixth. Charles Leclerc is in seventh. Max Verstappen 8th. Lando Norris 9th, and Esteban Ocon rounds out the top 10. Lewis Hamilton set his fastest time, it says, on the hard compound tyre.
Yeah.
I don't believe that, personally, but if he did, that means that the rest of them were definitely sandbagging. Going down the order, Carlos Sainz is in 11th place as well, followed by Kevin Magnussen 12th, Alexander Albon 13th, Romain Grosjean 14th, Nicholas Latifi 15th, Danny Kvyat 16th, Antonio Giovinazzi 17th, George Russell 18th, Robert Kubica, deputising for Kimi Räikkönen, is in 19th, and Pierre Gasly is 20th with no running on the board.
Thank you to everyone who's been listening to my show.
Yeah, very funny,
and
Dad.
hopefully my children haven't annoyed you too much. Megan, I don't know, she's hungry.
I've read.
Yeah,
she's hungry. That is a brilliant quote.
Megan will be back. Right, we'll be back.
I'm always hungry.
As we now look at a live picture of the circuit as well. We'll be back for the Friday practice review later on. And don't forget the British Grand Prix in 2 weeks' time. Hopefully, we should have every session live. Only a one-off, though. and then we'll return to what we do normally. Thank you,
Maybe.
Dad.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Megan. We'll see you again soon
Bye.
for qualifying, and we'll all be back later on this evening. From us all here, though, bye for now.